I have talked myself into James Hagens for the Blackhawks. And here's why. This is going to sound dumb. But he's talk about size, talk about height. The dude is just a hockey player. He is a good-ass hockey player that has been a good-ass hockey player his whole life. There's no questions he's going to be good in the NHL. I am no longer, well, I never really was, but I'm especially not hung up on an inch or two of height on James Hagens versus, well, Anton Frundell could be a solid second-line center. He's got a good defensive game. Great. It's the third pick.
Yeah.
Give me someone that's going to make a damn impact. You can go find your second-line center at 25 or wherever you want to do it. And again, if that's the pick, fine. I understand it. Great. If it's Frundell, whatever. If it's Desnoyers, whatever, fine. But to me, Hagens is a guy who checks every box of what you're looking for. Playmaker, scorer, accomplished in the international game, plays for a major program. All the things that you like about a hockey player in this generation, he checks every one of those boxes, and you could have Connor Bedard and James Hagens together for the next decade. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to take a guy. Oh, no, he's only 5'10". So? I don't care. Kirby Dach is 6'5". Guy can't stay on the ice. James Hagens plays, available. Stud player. That's my guy. The Hawks, I don't think they're going to take him. But that's who, if I'm picking today, if I'm Kyle Davidson, I'm running up to the podium and taking James Hagens without fear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat of any of the guys that we've been talking about endlessly in the lead up to this to Friday. I'm comfortable with because they all bring their upsides. You can see the cases that I made for all of them at allchgo.com. That's for diehards, part of the draft coverage we got going on this week. With Hagens, I mean, I'm brought back to Barry Trotz's quote a few seasons ago. It says, quote, "I can find you third and fourth line guys, no problem. Go get me some guys that get people out of their seats." That was a quote he had leading into the 2023 draft. And it applies. And I think it applies directly to a guy like James Hagens. He started this draft cycle as the number one prospect in the draft class.
Yep.
And all he did was go out and be a point-per-game player in college, win a gold medal with Team USA at the World Juniors, and be one of the standouts of the draft class.
Yep.
He didn't have a down year whatsoever. The fact that he went from 1 to 3 or 4 on most draft boards isn't an indictment against him and his game and the season he had in his draft year. It's that guys like Matthew Schaefer, Michael Misa, they had extraordinary seasons, or they have extraordinary talents and skills that have presented themselves over the past year and a half that maybe shined a little brighter than Hagens. And for the fact that he's 5'10 and a half, 180 and change at 18 years old, he's going to grow taller and wider by the time he's 20.
Also,
right?
if he doesn't grow, so get out a ruler and measure an inch, and you're telling me that this
It's usually like
is
the
the
tip of your
difference
thumb to your
between NHL success and failure is this? Get a bigger helmet. What are we talking about?
yeah.
It's so and again, I could see if he's
if
he's got a reputation for being a perimeter player that won't go to the net, that won't compete, that can't take a hit.
Doesn't.
Frank Nazar and James Hagens are similar sized. Did you see any indication from Frank Nazar that he was scared or would get pushed around in the NHL? Do you recall Patrick Kane taking a single hard hit in his entire NHL career that was clean?
Well, just the one that broke his collarbone.
The one that broke his collarbone was a board.
Yeah,
It had nothing to do with his size. It was a dirty ass hit.
Yeah, he had an ability to not put himself in bad positions, seeing the game the way he did, moving the way he did. Hagens has those abilities too. Yeah,
yes.
If James Hagens is the number 3 pick, I'm gonna be very happy with it. I'm not gonna say, oh no, he's too small. Like they have yet to pick an undersized, quote unquote undersized forward over Kyle Davidson's tenure that I look at and I'm like, I I don't think he's going to make it because he's too. Samuel Savoie is what, 5'9"?
Yeah.
I think he's going to get to the NHL and make an impact because of the way he plays. And Brad Marchand is allegedly 5'9".
That's it.
Sidney Crosby is allegedly 5'11".
Further, if you're not sensing it, when Mario says allegedly,
players.
he is absolutely not 5'9".
Yeah.
He's closer to 5'6", 5'7".
Alex DeBrincat was allegedly 5'8". Those guys have been able to find their way in the NHL. I forget who it was. Someone took a picture with Sidney Crosby, and they were like, I'm 5'10", and they were taller than Crosby.
Yes.
And so Sidney Crosby may be listed at 5'11", but I think he's closer to 5'10", maybe 5'9". I don't know. If I ever stand next to him and I'm eye to eye, we'll have our answer. But he's a guy that is not in the 6-foot range, and he is a Hall of Famer. Like there are guys that have been extremely successful, even in the era of the monsters of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. There were smaller players that made wonderful livings. Martin St. Louis and Paul Kariya were two of my favorite players ever when I first got into hockey because they were small. I knew I was going to be small, and I was like, cool. Like, these guys are awesome. I want to be like them.
It is a mindset.
Yeah.
And if you want, I think Marchand is the current example. For you kids watching at home, go find some tape of Theo Fleury. Theo Fleury is 5'6" and would kick your ass to get to the net. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't do anything about it. Like, it is a willingness. My old buddy Doug Buffone called it the Neanderthal gene. You've got to be willing to go in there, get knocked around, get hit, and having an inch of height doesn't suddenly make you a more physical player. It doesn't suddenly make you, now that he's 6 foot and not 5'11", he can take a hit.
Right.
It's look, I get if you're on the fence about two guys, you feel pretty good about both of them. All right, fine, take the bigger guy, right?
Sure.
But the only thing that James Hagens is lacking to keep him from being maybe the number 1 pick, maybe number 2 pick, possibly number 3 pick, is half an inch. What are we talking about?
Yeah,